A sandwich defined by contrast. Crisp, buttery bread, tender shredded pork, sweet honey ham, and tangy yellow mustard and pickles. The Cuban is the ultimate ham and cheese sandwich. Today, we'll serve it up alongside another Latin American delight, Tostones. Regular potato chips will never suffice as a sandwich side again. We'll begin with our roasted pork. For that, we're using a shoulder steak here, or a Boston butt steak. About 2 pounds is plenty. If it has a bone in it, be sure to avoid that when you're cutting it in half or into pieces. The reason we're cutting it into pieces is that we are going to be pressure cooking this, so we're going to place it in the bottom of my Instant Pot here. Any old pressure cooker will do. Next up, we need to get some great flavor and seasoning in there, so of course we'll start with the basics, some fresh cracked pepper and a heavy pinch of kosher salt. Next up, we'll be adding in about a teaspoon of dried oregano. All the exact ingredients will be down below, by the way, but you can see I'm really going out of my way to measure this, Yeah. A little bit of cayenne pepper. Go in with some ground cumin for smokiness. For added smokiness, we'll use some smoked paprika. Next up, I got a little bit of garlic powder. And finally, a seasoning I love, ground coriander. Adds a nice citrusy note. Speaking of citrus, if you had some fresh orange or lime juice, that would be ideal, but I was all out, so I tossed in about a tablespoon of white wine vinegar. Apple cider vinegar would be fine as well. And finally, about a half cup of water so the Instant Pot doesn't explode. Okay, we're going to pressure cook this on high for 45 minutes. While that's going, we'll get started on our tostones, and for them we'll need a dipping sauce. So we're going to zest a lime, add a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, followed by 1 tablespoon ketchup, 1 tablespoon of your favorite Mexican hot sauce, more or less to your taste. And we'll get the juice of 1 lime. This was a particularly juicy lime, so I just did half. We'll go ahead and stir that to combine, and you've got yourself a lovely chili lime mayo dipping sauce. Set that in the fridge, and we'll get to work on our tostones. If you've never used plantains before, they can be a little bit difficult to peel. The easiest way is to use a knife, just slice off each end, and then make a very shallow incision in the skin right down the middle. And just work your fingers between the skin and the flesh of the plantain and slide it off. These are unripened plantains. Ripe plantains are very useful as well to make things like maduros, but today we're making tostones, so you want those nice green plantains. Once you've got them totally peeled, we're going to slice them into roughly 1-inch discs. These are going to get fried, smashed, and then refried. They're going to be slightly sweet, totally savory, and really just a delightful bite. If you've never had them, I highly encourage you to break out your knife, your pot, and a little bit of oil and give these a try. We are going to fry them at about 350 degrees for about 4 to 5 minutes. What that's going to do is soften them up and darken them up ever so slightly. Once they're nice and golden like that, remove them from the oil. Don't have to worry about draining them too much at this point because we are going to refry them. Just get them out of there. And now we need to smash them. And if you don't have a tostone smasher, which you probably don't, the easiest way to do this is just between 2 plates. Definitely put your weight into it, give these things a good smash, get them nice and flat. Set them aside, and now we're going to refry them. At this point, you may want to work in batches depending on how much oil you're using. Pop them back in for another 4 to 5 minutes, giving them a stir to make sure they don't stick together once you've gotten them in there. And now, once they're golden brown and presumably delicious, we will remove them to a wire rack to drain, season immediately with salt while they are still nice and hot, and you've got your perfectly salted tostones. Oh, look at that, perfect timing. Our pork is done. I really hate pressure cookers, they terrify me, so once you let it release, go ahead and take that lid off and remove your pork. Do not throw away that beautiful cooking liquid that's inside the Instant Pot. We are going to put it to good use here in just a moment. You want to slice off any big, large pieces of fat that did not render while it cooked. And then using a knife and a fork or 2 forks, just go ahead and slice and shred this. It should be tender but not totally falling apart at this point. If If you see any large pieces of fat or gristle, go ahead and make sure to remove those and toss them. Nobody wants that on their sandwich or at all. Once you've got it nicely shredded like this, a final step is to get a little extra flavor and color in there by adding about a 1/4 cup of that braising liquid from the Instant Pot to a skillet over medium-high heat. Add in your pork and give it a sear for about 4 to 5 minutes. You want to get just a little bit of color on there. Extra flavor is going to get seared in from those juices. Man, it's really, really tasty. This would make a killer pulled pork quesadilla or pulled pork nachos, but today we're making Cubans. So, lay down a generous smear of yellow mustard on 2 sides of a French or hoagie roll. Add a couple of slices of some Black Forest or honey ham. You want that to be pretty thinly sliced. Put down a couple of pickles, basically just making layers at this point. Some Swiss cheese, because every good sandwich needs cheese. And finally, the shredded roasted pork right on top. Be generous with it. Once your pork is prodigiously piled onto your Cuban sandwich, you could of course proceed to eat it, but it is so much better once you griddle it with a little bit of olive oil or butter. If you've got a panini press, you're in business. If not, just take a small or medium-sized skillet, add a tablespoon of olive oil or butter, add the sandwich over medium heat, give it a nice press. You can use another skillet if you need to. The advantage of this is when you're done pressing, you can dome it up to get some steam action going in there and really help soften that bread and melt that cheese. After 3 to 4 minutes, should be golden brown and toasty on the bottom. Carefully give her a flip, or him, and we're going to press down again on the second side to flatten it and get all those ingredients nice and smushed together in there. Again, give it the old dome treatment or park it in an oven for a few minutes optionally. And after 3 to 4 more minutes, your cheese should be nice and melty, the sandwich golden brown and toasty, and you will be ready to eat. So, no plate needed here. We're going to lay down a few tostones, get that nice dipping sauce we made, and I mean, that's the thing of beauty, right? Golden brown and crispy bread, that sweet, succulent ham, that soft, shredded pork, the pickles and Swiss cheese to help offset all the other rich flavors, and also those super crisp plantains. Get a little bit of that dipping sauce. Holy moly, if you've never had one of these, you are truly missing out. There's just a hint of sweetness. They're super crisp, super delightful, and that sauce has that nice chili lime kick. This sandwich was actually for my husband, and I could not defile it by taking a massive bite out of it on camera for you. I do apologize about that, but I thought I'd at least give you the cross section. Oh man, that looks great. I gotta at least try a piece of this pork since we worked so hard on it, or at least that Instant Pot did. Man, that is so succulent, so flavorful. As I said, it's really versatile. If you have leftovers, you can use them in so many ways. I hope you'll give this sandwich a try. Give those tostones a try. Thanks for watching. Whatever you do this week, make sure to make something delicious.